You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. Appreciate you for tuning in. We're going to be answering questions from subscribers in today's video. So if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel and drop a question for me down in the comments using hashtag Giants. We are about a month, less than a month away now. We're really 3 weeks away from the NFL draft getting rolling. And it's time for Joe Schoen to get it right in the NFL draft. Will he pick a receiver, a quarterback, or what will he do at pick 6? We'll find out. My guy Mike G coming in with a $20 super chat says, Marsh, what up, brother? If we are picking between tier 2 QBs, do I want Penix or Nix? Assume we go Rome or Neighbors in round 1. For me, I am Michael Penix pretty far ahead of Bowen Nix. I think Penix has one of the best arms in this class, if not the best arm, or right behind Caleb Williams. I think that from a clean pocket, he throws the ball better than anybody. I think he really puts a lot of stress on a defense because he can throw from this hash to that boundary and this hash to that boundary. I think he throws better outside the numbers than anybody in this class. I have Penix as my QB 5. I have Caleb 1. I have Drake May 2. I have Jaden Daniels 3, JJ McCarthy 4, and Michael Penix 5. The reason I don't have Penix above McCarthy is because of the injury issues, as well as the fact that he's going to be 24 when the season kicks off, and JJ McCarthy will be 22 years old in January of 2025. I would go Penix over Nix. I don't think Nix is a terrible prospect. I just think Penix has a much higher ceiling than him, and I think that he can win you games from inside the pocket by operating at a very, very high level. Justin Fowler, what's up, man? Should the Giants sign Xavien Howard, Stephon Giilmore, or Patrick Peterson? We've talked about this on the channel a couple of times, Justin, and I do think the Giants should kick the tires on signing a veteran corner in free agency. They had a meeting with Tre'Davious White a couple of weeks ago. That shows me that they have interest in adding a corner, and whether it be Howard or Gilmore, I'd take either of them. When it comes to Patrick Peterson, I don't think he's nearly the player he once was, and I don't even really think he's close to what Gilmore or Howard is. Howard's 30, Gilmore's 33, and Peterson's going to be 34 here pretty soon. If you're looking for a young corner to help develop, maybe a guy you take in the draft as well as Deonte Banks, I think that could be Peterson. But if I had to rank them, I would go Gilmore, Howard, and then Peterson. Gaming 101. Even with all the O-line we signed, should we still draft Joe Alt? For me, I love Joe Alt. I have Joe Alt as my number 3 player in this class. It goes Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., and then Joe Alt for me. I think Joe Alt is going to walk into this league and be a superstar and have Hall of Fame potential. I've been pounding the table for Alt to be a Giant, but just with the way that the offseason has gone and the way that it seems like the Giants are attacking this draft, offensive tackle at 6 is most likely not going to happen, which stinks because I think he's going to be great. And I think if you had Alt as well as Andrew Thomas, you'd be in a really good spot, but I don't think that's going to happen. And the Titans will probably pick him at 7, and they're going to have a great tackle for a long, long time. Name a player you want the Giants to draft, though. Is it Joe Alt? Is it Malik Neighbors? Is it Jaden Daniels? Is it Drake May? Is it Ladd McConkey? Give me a player that you want to see play for this football team next year. Kim9, G-O-D, says, I believe we should grab multiple wide receivers and give Daniel a year to have real receivers. Also gives us a chance to get possible depth for our what might be a multi-year rebuild. Yeah, I do agree that you need to go out and address the receiver position in the draft. I would look to draft a receiver in round 1, whether that be Neighbors, Adunze, or Marvin Harrison Jr. I would even entertain the idea of moving up to pick 5 if Marvin Harrison Jr. is still on the clock. When it comes to giving Daniel Jones receivers, yeah, if you're going to roll with him this year, then you do need to give him some help and some weapons and see where he's at. But I'm not just sure that there's much of a future here with Daniel Jones anymore. He'd have to do some pretty crazy things next year for him to be back on $47 million next year instead of $22 million saved by the Giants. And I think this is a multi-year rebuild. So I like drafting receivers and improving the team and then potentially drafting a QB next year. Michael Cook, what up, man? With Barkley gone, do you think we're going to get more Robinson in the backfield as a mismatch monster? that allow us to go 11 personnel with Slay, Hyatt out wide, and Rookie out of the slot. With Barkley gone, do you think we're going to get more Robinson out of the backfield? I think they are going to have more of a game plan to get Wan'Dale Robinson involved this year. This regime clearly values him, right? They took him in the second round out of Kentucky. And I think they need to find a way to get him the football more. We've seen him get a couple of carries, a couple of jet sweeps, and little pop passes behind the line of scrimmage. Yeah, and the way if you can get Slay and Hyatt and him on the field at the same time, I'm cool with that. I would like to see them try to find a way to use him more as a mismatch guy. I like what you're going with that. Let's see if they do it, though. I think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a 10 times a game thing, maybe 5, but he did play running back. I believe it was at Nebraska before transferring to Kentucky. I know he played receiver before, running back before being a receiver, though, at Kentucky. I think it was Nebraska. Not 100% sure on that, though. Stephen Belinas, what up, man? If Daniel Jones replicates what Baker Mayfield did this year or what Geno Smith did in 2022, is that enough to give him the starting job for the future? The only way that I am not going to cut Daniel Jones going into 2025 is if I believe I can win a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones at quarterback. Look, if Daniel Jones goes and wins a playoff game for the second time in 3 years, he's going to be on this team next year. That's just the facts. For me, I need to leave thinking he can win a Super Bowl. And I don't think he can win a Super Bowl with Geno Smith, and I don't think he can win a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield. My kind of motto that I've been going with in the offseason is when a team shows you their ceiling, when a player shows you their ceiling, you don't double down. You move on. And the Bucs did the opposite of that. They doubled down. They cashed out Mike Evans. They cashed out Baker Mayfield. I actually think the Bucs, the 2024 Bucs are going to be what the 2023 Giants were. Both teams overachieved. Daniel Jones won a playoff game. Baker Mayfield won a playoff game. And then the regimes almost went kind of all in. We'll see what it does for the Bucs. It didn't work out for the Giants. If he wins a playoff game, John Mayer is going to bring him back. I would not. I got to think he can win a Super Bowl, and I don't think one playoff win does that when, 14 or 16 teams make the playoffs every single year. We're going to be live for the NFL Draft, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Subscribe for free, informative, entertaining updates every day on the New York Giants. We'll get to more questions coming in from subscribers, but first, I got to give a huge shout-out to today's sponsor, 8 Sleep. Go to 8sleep.com/chatsports, and you're going to get $200 off plus free shipping. Today's episode is brought to you by 8 Sleep, the high-tech solution to your age-old sleeping issues. 8 Sleep's Pod 3 cover slips right over your mattress, bringing you heating and cooling tech that keeps you comfortable and sleeping deeper for a better, more restful night. I love 8 Sleep because it has totally stopped my night sweats. I'm someone that even when it's hot out or cold outside, I still need the fan blazing. That was until I got hooked up with 8 Sleep. I don't wake up sweating anymore, and I get a great night's sleep. The pod cover will improve your sleep by automatically adjusting your bed's temperature based on your individual needs. The cover can be added to any bed like a fitted sheet and allows you and your partner to cool or warm your side of the bed as low as 55 degrees and up to 110 degrees. Check them out. Go to 8sleep.com/chatsports and get $200 off plus free shipping on the pod cover by 8 Sleep. Invest in the rest you deserve with the 8 Sleep pod. 8sleep.com/chatsports. I will make sure all that information is clickable down in the comments and description of today's show. Shout out to 8 Sleep for being a proud sponsor of New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. The Hibby, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What up, bro? We talk about the top potential 6. But if we trade back with the Vikings, who will be available at both picks? Talk about players that will be available at 11. I'm looking at Quinyon Mitchell. The corner, I believe corner outside, a receiver and quarterback is the biggest need for the Giants. And then I think you look to draft a receiver at pick 23. Will A.D. Mitchell be there? I don't think Brian Thomas Jr. will be there at 23, but maybe a guy like A.D. Mitchell at 23 and maybe a guy like Quinyon, A.D. Mitchell and then Quinyon Mitchell, both Mitchells, at pick 11. That's who I'd be looking for. I think he's going to be a stud corner, and I think A.D. Mitchell's I don't know why I'm tripping out on both their names being Mitchell. But yes, AD is going to be a good receiver as well. Those are two guys I would look to target. As Adrian coming in says, love your videos. Watch them from Mexico. 2 months ago, JJ was supposed to go in the second round. What changed that had everyone having him as QB5? What changed? They aren't even playing anymore. That is a great question. I think what has changed is that these decision makers for NFL teams have gotten to go in the room with him. And they've gotten to talk to him. And they've gotten to see how he ticks and how he is on the whiteboard. That is something that, coming out of the Combine, we heard at Chat Sports as we were at the Combine, is teams were in love with the way he was able to process information and operate on the whiteboard. I also think for a guy like McCarthy, you have to watch all of his games and all of his throws to get a full evaluation, because he doesn't throw the football as much. So it takes longer to watch his tape. I also think, Adrian, that the media because look, when you're in December and I'm talking draft, I'm in January talking draft, we don't know yet what the NFL thinks. We learn what the NFL thinks on a player at the Combine. And the NFL has always been higher on JJ McCarthy. So I think that's kind of the reason for that. In-person meetings, his ability on the whiteboard, more time to watch his tape, and the NFL just being ahead of what the media was on the take of J.J. McCarthy. You see all these people say, the more I watch McCarthy's tape, the more I like him. Because you have to watch more. Because there's just not a large, you almost have to watch every game. You do. Whereas I only need to watch 5 games for Caleb Williams. I know he's a stud. I don't need to watch all 12, 14, 24 games of the college career of Michael Penix to know he can throw the piss out of the ball. So kind of where I'm at on that. Joe G, what up, man? Giants are projected to win 6.5 games this year, resulting in a top 10 pick, meaning Daboll will be gone. Is it too early to start looking at potential replacements? Yes, it is. And I'm not so sure that Brian Daboll is going to get fired. Giants have fired 3 straight coaches after 2 years. Giants don't want to have to fire another coach after 3 years, especially after you have a playoff win in one of those years. Progress will be needed. But I think if you're playing somewhat meaningful games in December and January, and if you draft a quarterback, you show some development and some evolution in their game, I'm not so quick to fire Daboll. I'm not, but let's see how the season unfolds. You win 5 games, he might be fired. But we'll find out this time next year. My guy Rashad, what's up, man? Thanks for always showing me love. I appreciate it. Do you really trust Joe Schoen with another draft? His first 2 drafts, I give a C-. I think he's going to blow this one too. I do still trust him. I do. Should I? I don't know. I thought what he did last year was what I would do. I would have traded up for Jalen Hyatt. I would have drafted John Michael Schmidt. You can go back and watch the reactions. I gave the Giants an A+ for their first 2 rounds, or first 3 rounds. And I feel like Joe Schoen, while he hasn't hit on any of his O-line picks, which is pretty crazy, I also want to credit or shed some of that blame on Bobby Johnson. Let's see how now those picks fit with Carmen Brasillo. Micah McFadden was a good pick. You get a starting linebacker in round 5. I like Dane Belton. Jordan Riley's been a good pick. DJ Davidson has been a good pick. But this will be a big draft for him, Rashad. He's got to nail. You have 3 picks inside the top 70. You gotta draft 3 starters. 4 picks inside the top 110. You need 3 starters out of those guys. You need 3 guys out of those. Dominic, what up, man? Thoughts on the Giants trading down with Minnesota, then trading back up to 9 pick? I don't think there's a trade down and then a trade up type of situation, but I'll play along. Is Odunze going to be there at 9? Is Penix going to be there at 23? I know we just got Penix at 30 in our mock draft, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Penix may be off the board in the first 15 picks. For me, I'm not trading down unless I'm netting a future first-round pick, because at 6, you get a blue-chip prospect in Neighbors, Odunze, Joe Alt. Like, there's blue-chip guys at 6. Just stick and pick and add a really good football player. Mike G, what up, man? Is Blackman from the Colts good? The safety keeps hearing his name for the Giants. Wouldn't hate it, but thinking draft one. He is a good safety. And he's only 25 years old, and he really fits what Shane Bowen wants to do. He played a lot of his snaps this year, Mike, inside the box. Shane Bowen in Tennessee ran dime coverage 20-something% of the time. I think it's 24% of the time. The second highest in the NFL. Dime means you have 6 DBs on the field. And if you're going to run with 6 DBs, you need guys that can tackle. And Julian Blackman was one of the best tackling safeties the last 2 years in the NFL. He operates out of the slot. He could be that single-eye safety. He could play halves. He could excel in quarters coverage as well. And Bobby Okereke has been recruiting him over on Twitter. Blackman would be a great fit for the Giants. I'm not so sure they want to allocate the resources, though, to that safety position, considering they didn't sign Xavien McKinney. But if I can give him a 3-year deal, $15 million, $5 a pop, yeah, I just don't know what his market is at this point. Predict the record for the Giants this upcoming year. We had someone say the line was 6.5. Over, under. Predicted record for the Giants. Very, very interesting to see what you guys have to say. Make sure you are following me over on social media at @MarshallGreen_ on Twitter, at @MarshallGreen_ on Instagram. Hit me up over there, and let's go Big Blue.